Hi, welcome back to Nursing Home Insider Behind the Call Light. So, I just made a short this morning on the 6 myths about nursing homes, and I thought I would just like to maybe make a longer little video to kind of expand on that and talk about some issues with that. So, starting with the first myth is that everybody is neglected in a nursing home. I've seen neglect, and a lot of times it comes from other places where they've been in the home or they've been in a hospital. There is definitely neglect in nursing homes, um, but I want to believe that that is not the norm. Um, there's lots of regulations now in state, and they have to do certain things. And so, usually, I mean, sometimes somebody can slip through a crack, but for the most part, I'm going to say that everybody is not neglected. Um, the last job I had, one of my residents was bedbound and still had his mental capacities. And so he couldn't read, he couldn't do anything like that because of his arms being contracted. But he loved to watch movies, so I would get a big TV and take it in his room, and he loved Harry Potter. So I would bring those for him. Sometimes just go and sit and talk about his past, or he used to love to do a lot of things like sailing. So you just make it your point to not um, let them be neglected. At least that was my heart, and I have to think that that's a lot of people's hearts. So two, myth being people just go to nursing homes to die, and a lot of people go home. They've been there a couple of months and they get therapy and then they go back home. Or some of them are there for long periods of time, and but that doesn't mean they're just going to die. There's still so much life that can be lived, and even in a nursing home, you can have hopes and dreams and goals that you would want to do for yourself. So you can still thrive in any situation that you're in if that's your mindset to do. Three, that the families don't visit in nursing homes. And there again, depending on the demographics and where you are, a lot of times, people don't have family. That's true. But on the most part, there's families that are there all the time, bringing in food, washing their laundry, making sure that mama or dad or whatever is cared for. And let me just say that if you have a loved one in a nursing home, that is very important, because the ones that get visited the most, because the families are there advocating for them, obviously are not going to get neglected at all. And not that any of them should. um, and that brings us to the fourth one, just it's a very weird topic for me. Staff don't care, because I care 110%. When I was a CNA, even in college, I was that way. When I was a volunteer when I was 8, I was that way. When I was 45 and doing CNA work again, I was that way. um, and most of the people I ever worked with were that way. Now, I do have to say that I've noticed a shift, because the younger generation, and this is not true of all of them, again, you can't like slap labels on people, because I know some really good young ones that they do a great job. But I've noticed a lot that the staff, sit around and be on their phones instead of like taking their job seriously. Um, and there again, I can think of one girl. Um, she's my age, and she is amazing, amazing. And on her floor, which is a hard floor, the dementia floor, her people are always the best. They're taken care of. They're up and clean. She shaves men's heads and shaves their faces, and she's does the best that I can even imagine that anybody could do. And then there's a guy at the same place that on another floor, amazing, and so you're going to have the good with the bad. You're going to have CNAs that don't care, but they don't usually last long, you know, because believe me, this job is not for the weak. And if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to hang around very long. So it's not true about the staff. Myth 5, that residents just sit around all day. Now, there again, that can be true. And if you have staff that are encouraging activities, and like even on the dementia hall that I was just talking about, she always had, I would take her coloring books or puzzles or whatever, and she would make sure that her people on her floor were, doing things like that. So they don't sit around. I mean, we had activities all the time, not just bingo. Of course, they do love their bingo, but, and parties all the time, and big things, big fall festivals, and you just try to get them involved, and let them have fun, So myth number 6 is putting someone in a nursing home means that you have failed. And I just want you to hear me for sure, because sometimes it's the only thing you can do. Sometimes it's the best thing you can do. Every situation is different. Every family is different. And, you can be involved, and you can still take care of your family member and have them in a nursing home and not feel guilty about that. Okay. Because as long as you are involved and looking out for them, then they're fine, So our next video, I'm going to address maybe some of the questions that you should ask and some things you should look for when you are looking to place your loved one in a nursing home or yourself. So there's definitely things you should look for. So we're going to talk about that next time. And I thank y'all so much. I appreciate it if you would like and subscribe so that we can get this channel going. Thank you.